Hey, hi, it is me, your void, and we're doing something else today. Remember how I said in my channel plan video for this year that I would want to also make some writing vlogs? And if you look at my feed, you will notice that I have not done a single writing vlog. So I decided, when a new idea hit me over the head like a baseball bat, I guess, that is the perfect opportunity to make a writing vlog. So I had this idea while I was rewatching one of my favorite shows. It's called Prodigal Son. It's good shit. Watch it. But yeah, I was rewatching Prodigal Son when I had an idea. Because the entire premise of Prodigal Son is that a profiler and his serial killer father work together to solve crimes. And I was like, it tickles something in my brain. And I'm a sucker for a story where a serial killer has to work together with the police or is working against the police. I like to see the serial killer side of things. Call me weird. I know I am. But between Prodigal Son, one of my favorite TV shows, the books by Ethan Cross, one of my favorite thriller authors, and the Gretchen Lowell series by Chelsea Kane, which is one of my favorite thriller series of all time, something started brewing in my brain. And I couldn't let go of the single thought. It wasn't a thought at that point. It was literally just something scratching in the back of my brain. And then, as cliche as it sounds, it came to me under the shower. As cliche as it sounds, it came to me under the shower. I was doing my stuff under the shower, cleansing my flesh sack, and I was like, wait a second! And this idea came to me. So, instead of being like, I can remember it later, I immediately wrote that thought, that was now a fully formed thought, down right after I got out of the shower. Hadn't even put on clothes yet. Like, I was wrapped in a towel, dripping, while I was writing down this thought in order to keep it. But the thought didn't leave me alone. And usually when a thought doesn't leave me alone, writing it out of my brain helps me, so I did that. Still didn't let go. So I started coming up with the characters for it. This idea that I had is basically, it's taking the concept of Prodigal Son. It's literally taking that concept of having a family connection between a profiler and a serial killer, and this fucked up dynamic that comes from that. And then we solve crimes. But I made it worse, because I had to make it worse. So the serial killer and the profiler are actually twin brothers. Do you know how fucked up I can go with this in terms of psychological weirdness? Just thought about that. It's juicy. So it's basically your average thriller drama. There is some murder stuff happening, and we have these two characters. So the basic premise is going to be very thriller stuff-esque, and you have these twins, and one of them caught the other. So the serial killer twin is now rotting away, locked up behind bars, and the other twin, it crushed him. Like, he was spending years of his life trying to find the serial killer, only for this killer to turn out to be his own brother. And that whole dynamic sent him into a spiral, so he disappeared for an entire year. He just fucked off, no one knows where he went. And now he's just living his best life away from law enforcement. He's like, nope, can't deal with that anymore. Thank you, but no thank you. So he's doing his stuff, but he still has these instincts. So when something comes up in the news, he can't just look away. He has a thought or two, but he's not acting on them. Until one day, an old friend from school who happens to work for the police department asks for his help with this specific serial killer that is now running around. And all the while, in the background, secretly, no one knows that he's doing this, he is visiting his brother in prison because there's this fucked up codependent thing going on between the two. So they start brainstorming, and then the police guy, who's like an old friend, is like, hey, baby, don't do that. So he's like the good side, and the serial killer brother's like the bad side, and in between we have this guy who's just trying to untangle his own thoughts, but he can't. And that is what I'm working with right now. I have no idea what I'm going to do in terms of plot, other than there's a serial killer, we need to catch him. I, for a second, thought about making a dual timeline to have this one serial killer in the present and then also the hunt for the serial killer twin, or maybe the direct aftermath. I don't yet know. I have zero idea what I'm going to do with the story, but I do have a strong sense of who these characters are, so much so that I already made the character profiles. I now have the entire cast. I have the twins, I have the parents of the twins, I have the police guy, I have the sister for him, I have the medical examiner, I have two more police people just running around doing stuff, and I have given myself a list of names for possible characters that I still need to do for whatever reason. I like to have a name bank so I can just pull that out. I think I am now at the point, if I want to continue building this thing to a point where I can write it, I need to start plotting. And all of my plotting happens analog. I have a Notion file for everything that I write for every single project, but plotting itself happens analog with a pen and a bunch of paper. So that is where I'm at right now. I think I'm now going to start plotting this because I literally don't know what else to do at this point. Okay, so I lied. I forgot that for a thriller where we are hunting a serial killer, I might need to have a serial killer. So instead of diving into plotting right away, I actually spent some more time on figuring out who the serial killer actually is. And then I brainstormed a bit too close to the sun because by the end I had 5 different like themes slash MOs for a serial killer and I couldn't decide. Thankfully, I have a bunch of very creative friends, so I was like, help! And presented them with the 5 options, and they helped me to narrow it down to 2. Well, technically 3 because they wanted to piss me off, so everyone picked a different one. So I had 3, but then I kicked one out because his MO was too similar to what I want the twin to be doing. So in the end, it was a pick between 2, and then I realized if I just turn a wee bit, I can actually fuse the 2. So I fused the 2. I now have the modus operandi for the serial killer we are going to hunt. And then I started brainstorming again to be like, okay, this is a thriller. We're hunting a serial killer. There need to be some kills. And these kills might actually be like important plot points. I don't know. So I got to thinking, and again, I brainstormed too close to the sun. So now I have 8 different murders according to the MO of this serial killer. I haven't done any other planning for this serial killer. I have no idea who he is. I just know how he kills and who he kills and how he stages those kills. I have 8. I'm probably not going to use all 8 because that would be excessive. Because the one thing with this killer is it is all about details when it comes to the staging. There are very important details, very small details he needs to get right. And some of these kills, it's not just a single person that's killed. There are group killings in here. So taking into account all of the logistics of something like that, there has to be a lot of time. And I don't want this book to be a 1,000-page behemoth because who is reading a 1,000-page thriller? So I'm probably not going to use all 8 kills, but I have this bank of 8 kills now at my disposal. They are pretty much universal puzzle pieces, so I can now actually start plotting. I can brainstorm at least. around these murders and then see which murder fits the most into everything else that I have. And of course, I also still need to figure out who is this guy? Who is this serial killer? I do have some tabs open currently of the official FBI website about serial killers. Like there's like 2 or 3 podcast episode that sounds interesting, and like a blog post about how do we catch serial killers. So I'm doing my research. Look at me, not just diving headfirst into a new project, but actually like thinking about it. And I also started brainstorming scenes. By the way, I brainstorm is I take a bunch of cards and I just write down any and all scenes that come to mind. There is no structure in there, and not all of them make sense in the story I want to tell, but for now it's just getting everything I have out of my brain onto something that I can grab with my fingies. And once I have all of that, when I think I have brainstormed everything, I will arrange these cards in what is hopefully going to be a coherent story arc, and that is where like some of these scenes might just fly out and stuff. So I started that. Only have a handful of them so far because I was preoccupied with getting this serial killer down. So the next 2 things I will do is figure out who the actual serial killer is and not just how he kills, and get more of these scene cards done. And I think I want to leave it at that for now for this vlog, and I will get back to you once I have something more substantial to talk about, I guess. So we're ending this vlog here. If you made it this far, first of all, thank you for watching me ramble about things that are going on in my brain. If you like these kinds of weird ramblings about the things that are going on in my brain, don't forget to like and subscribe so you will be notified, I guess, or see when I put up the next one of these vlogs. When that will be, I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for both of us. And let me know in the comments if you have any inputs to the story. I don't know, start guessing. What do you think this new serial killer is going to be? Who is that man going to be? Brainstorm with me. Brainstorm with me. Who is this new serial killer going to be? Without you knowing anything about his MO other than the staging is very detailed. If you don't want to talk to me at all, leave any kind of pen emoji down in the comments below. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!